know people that garden, and I go down to the Chattanooga Sunday Market. I go down to the market and buy stuff. But a lot of farmers markets have been cropping up in some of the local neighborhoods, like South Side.
They have.
Yeah, I love that. And then we've got that market on East Main. I mean the garden on East Main, and we've been trying to raise awareness for that too.
Do you know Mayada?
Mayana.
Mayada.
Mayada.
Denani. D-H-A-N-A-N-I.
Heather, do we know this name? No. Is she a gardener?
Yeah.
Is she like one of those fair share people? Or?
We went to some event down on Main Street, and I think she played a role in designing or doing something.
Oh, they've got some good, talented people down there doing stuff.
They really do.
They really do.
They have another one down there, further down, closer to Martha Street, a community garden. And I was down there, and they have a beautiful wood set up down there. They are so pretty.
Where's this?
It's closer to the Main Street, but it's is it that Rawson cut off?
Yeah.
Right in there.
Okay.
That Rawson cut off.
You kind of slide
It's
in
nice
on
down
this.
there.
Well, I'm really amazed. I noticed that the Riverside Neighborhood Association supported that community garden down there on Main Street. That was a good partnership.
Yeah, and it's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
Come pick the greens. I was down there one year. And they would just come pick greens, put it in the bag, and pick all they want and take off.
They do a $10 membership, which doesn't cover anything, but it gives the people a buy-in.
Yeah.
You know, they want more and more and more and more people to just be involved and learn how to garden and learn how to grow something for your family and just come out and learn how to do it.
You know, I don't know the answer to this one, but I garden pretty intensely, and my soil has got to be reinforced. Now, my game plan was to go up the side of days away and find some manure, and I would need quite a bit. But somebody was telling me that over at the Moccasin Bend treatment center, that sludge is good.
That's what my dad always
Is it really
used.
good? I mean,
That's what my dad always used growing up, and it smells. It's like the stuff that.
I'm not worried about the smell because that'll go away. But is it healthy? I mean, is it harmful?
I'm probably the only one in here who knows anything about it, and my dad swore by it. We would go down and get a truckload. We lived in Maryland, and I guess it came up someplace off Potomac River. I don't know. We did.
That's really good to know. I mean, I
turned out. I don't glow. I don't glow.
Pig poop's good too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, pig manure.
No, pig poop. No, you know, if there are any big pig farms around, they'll a lot of times let you just take it.
Yeah, they want to get rid of it.
That's good. You know it.
Well, you don't want to live downwind from a pig farm.
Well, one of the main things that we don't really know how all this is going to go, but one of the things, I mean, we know that you have been elected to serve us, but the thing is here in Eastlake, we are all about empowering the neighborhood, and so we want to know how best we can serve them, and then at the same time, so you can multiply yourself. So you don't have to be coming to every single little thing or anything like that.
Great statement. Let me talk big picture, and then we'll talk about Eastlake and whatnot. The district that I serve is pretty large. It goes. Now we redrew the lines last year. Heretofore, I had gone up to Hickory Valley Road up on 58, which you know where the TNT plant is?
Yeah.
That street that comes out through there. But I pulled my line back towards, you know, the street that runs up to Booker T. Washington Park. That's where I pulled it back to. Now, and then I kind of extended it down to Piney Woods. I had just at Alton Park. I don't have St. Elmo. But what is apparent to me is that irrespective of whatever part of the district you live in, we tend to have the same common issues for the most part. And when I began to talk to Linda about trying to convey the leadership, what I was looking to do, and still am, is I want to get the different parts of the district, the leaders, and have a conversation and see, just see what's going on. Maybe give everyone 8 minutes, 10 minutes to talk about their community, what's going on, what's good, not so good, and in the process, we would all hear we're dealing with the same kind of issue. Now, in terms of getting the government involved, when people can act in numbers, in unison, you have a whole lot better chance of getting your voices heard. And so, with that in mind, I'm looking to convene just the whole district. And I'll tell you what, I stay in the street every day. And I enjoy standing in the street. And I know a good deal about the leadership, been in office enough to know how government works. I know what they say, and then I know what they do.
Or don't.
Just like the Sunshine Law. We're getting ready to appoint a judge, and just between us, I think the decision was made a week after Suzanne Bailey announced she was going to leave. Now, we went through the motions of having hearings and all of that, but somehow people get the message of, I don't know how that went. I do know how that went. I just want to say that. But the point being, again, is if we can get East Lake and Alton Park and Orchard Ave, Avondale, Bushtown, Churchville, the different parts of the district to sit together, work together. And I'm all about partnership. I think when people work together, you can get so much more done. And so that's what I'm moving towards. Like this community. I hear nothing. I don't hear a whole lot about East Lake, the school.
Right.
And I know there's needs. You'll agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I know.
now, like right now, we're about to get in a fight with the school. And I'll tell you my concern is we're going to give them $380 million. And they want to spend all the money over on the Ooltewah Ringo Road and Gans Middle Valley. But on the one hand, the school system right now, they have over $200 million in needed repair on the present building. At the same time, they have excess capacity, so many empty classrooms. And my question is, if we already have the space, why not use the space? You say the greatest need, but you're basing the need on classrooms only in those certain communities. Why not put the money where the test scores say that the money needs to be placed? When a kid doesn't get a decent education, it's crippling.
Forever crippled.
And part of the results of that, you read about it every week. These shootings and America is changing. Let me make this very, very clear. And I talked to this little lady last time I went to a neighborhood association meeting. Once upon a time, all of us, we'd tell our kids, go to high school, go to college, get a good job, work 25, 30 years, retire socially. That's gone.
Yes, it is.
And every day the technology is continuing to take jobs. The apps, the robots, they continue to take jobs. I, for one, I feel a great amount of joy when I see, like, Volkswagen. When I was 17, I left Riverside Drive. I moved to Detroit to work in the automobile industry, to make money, to go to school, to have a life. Jobs I did at Chrysler, and I worked at just about every Chrysler plant in Detroit. Lynch Road, Jefferson Assembly, Dodge Main. And the way we had just started building cars, they they have taken it to a whole different level, like with the robots.
Yeah.
When I worked at Chrysler, you know, we used to spot well. Man, those robots, unlike Mackey, they're going to do the job perfectly every time.
They're going to hit the same spot every time.
Every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, the more these robots come in, less and less is human capital. And so, these kids, I don't think are stupid. 3 weeks ago when that 18-year-old kid shot the 16-year-old kid, when he left home, I do not think, you can't convince me that kid knew he was not going to be able to go back home and watch TV that evening. It was over for him.
Yeah.
And how, you know, what is it that allow a kid to come to the mindset of thinking, well, I'm going to shoot this guy, but I'm going away. I don't get it.
But it's like, that's how it is in these communities because that's all the kids see. Like, so.
Unfortunately. And see, that's another part of it. You know, the powers that be seem like to me they want to push the problems to certain schools and certain neighborhoods. And if they can confine the problems to those, and see, the other side of that, the resources.
Yeah.
Andy Burke, he's, you know, I supported Andy when he ran for the Senate. And I told people, I'm with Andy, but if Andy ever got to a point where I disagreed with him, I'd have to say something about it. Now, Andy is, you know, it seems like he's been rather methodical. He's doing some studies, talking to a lot of people, getting a lot of input before making decisions. But when he starts making decisions, I want to make sure money is spent like on the rec centers in the urban core. If you expand out the boundaries of Chattanooga, you're going to have to provide services. And so if you expand out, then it dilutes the policing and other services that we have right here where we are. Now, I came, you know, I've wanted, Linda, I've just wanted to kind of have a conversation with the leaders and kind of get some marching orders from you guys in terms of what is it you want me to focus on? What's important to you?
Right. And when you're making that statement, but that's what I walked away with from what Andy Burke is doing, these little community meetings he's been doing. I felt the same. That's what he was trying to do. What was everyone else's, what do y'all want me to do? Exactly when I saw those, thought, okay, he's saying the same that you had said to me. But he's having these community meetings to get to it. Because if we don't tell it, if we don't voice it, and if we don't get the community involved, you'll never know. You never know. And then it'll go back to what you've heard. People say, well, he's not doing nothing for us. Well, did we ever tell you?
Yeah.
Except grumble and complain. So that's the intent. And we understand that. But Sue and I was talking about this yesterday. All the borders, we're all connected. Goes back to what you said. We're all connected, and we all need to work together.
We do.
We have to work together because, like you said, if it doesn't here, and we get it right over here, we're gonna move it to the next area, and it's gonna move to the next area, and we don't need that. We need to stop it.
And I don't want, see, just like this crime stuff, it will absolutely break your heart. Stuff that goes on right down here on 38th Street. Kid go down to the villages to visit his cousin. They don't know who he is. And consequently jump on him. 40 guys.
Wow.
Where was that?
That didn't even make the news.
Yeah.
On 38th?
At the villages. Either the day after or 2 days after Bert shot the kid with Williams. Over on Dotson, across, you know where the taxi stand is?
Right.
It's a shootout. 2 guys, one on one side of the street, the other kids on the other side of the street, they're shooting at each other. The police never come, the media never comes, nobody get hit, so no harm, no foul.
No, investigation.
And you don't have to do anything. I'll tell you, Linda, I fear for young people.
Just,
They don't have to do anything.
yeah.
I fear for them.
I called Sue looking for mine Friday.
So,
Yes.
could you tell us like what you have the power to influence or change? Like just because you're,
We
I
are
mean, you're,
county,
yeah.
and our jurisdiction is very different, like Parks and Rec. What we look to do is, what I try to do is do partnerships
Okay.
with the city. On the one hand, you want to stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
politicians are funny people. If I start working in somebody else's school, whoever is over that jurisdiction, they start looking at me, you know.
Territorial.
Yeah.
You violated space.
They might know to do it, but they don't want you to do it.
Yeah.
I had a huge compliment paid to me yesterday. I pay a lot of attention to the schools, and especially Howard and Central. The folks up on 58 thought well enough of my efforts. They named a ball field after me.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, I was.
Thrilled.
Man, you don't know what that does.
Yeah.
Good time.
Now, see, understand, what we do is for the people. But if you fined $162,000 to put 2 playgrounds at Orchard Knob Elementary School, well, as long as that principal is there, people know you help. But when they leave, unless something, and you know, and I know it sounds self-serving, but that's, otherwise people say, well, what are you doing?
Right.
They don't know.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
that's
Right.
a good point. That's a good point.
So
It's the old story of when Joseph was thrown in jail, and then there it was like, remember me, and then all of a sudden the Pharaoh was gone, and they forgot all about Joseph. You know what I mean? It was like, and only God had to bring around the dream so he could get out of there again. But it's like, whoever's around, they'll remember your name, but their principal's gone.
right. Let me go back to your question.
I think maybe I should restate that, but I'm just, if you could educate us a little bit about what is the role of the county commissioner, and like Bob was saying, how can we support you and what you're doing, but still trying to figure out what your role is. So
I'm going to talk around the issue and I'll come to it. Our number one thing is the schools,
okay.
sheriff's department.
Oh.
Those are number one and number two. That's where most of our money goes.
Okay.
I mean, we do just like we'll spend $780 million this year, and over half of that will go to the schools. We have things like 911, Hamilton, but what really needs to take place, if you ask me, and I would never say this publicly, is like you have the city parks, and then you have the Hamilton County parks.
Yeah.
We could do a better job of working together, like in terms of the Riverwalk. We patrol Hamilton County from the dam up to UTC, the football field, and then the city takes over. Already the city of Chattanooga has gone out of the school business, and already Hamilton County and Chattanooga Police Department, they are working together quite a bit. Where we can find efficiencies, I think we should. Just right per se, you know, the streets, garbage, all of that city. Parks, Eastland, all of that is city.
So one thing that we have here in our neighborhood is there's a lot of code violations with the houses. Like they're a lot in disrepair, and somebody, I think a guy from the code violation department or whatever he is, was telling us a few weeks ago that part of the reason that that continues to go on is because the penalty is like $5 or $50 to the landlord. So it's not much of an incentive for people to change things.
But was that not on the books to change?
Huh?
It was on the books at one time to change that to $500, wasn't it?
That's city.
That's okay, somebody write that down, that's city.
Right.
So do you, but I don't know, I'm still learning how the governmental process works, but even though you're in the county world, are you still able to apply pressure or kind of give voice to those types of policies, or not really?
Very little. Okay. And, you know, here again, there's kind of a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
But one of the places you really have voice in is schools. Okay, that's
one of the things we've talked about as a group. We've kind of talked about, well, what's going to be our focus next year, and one of the things that kind of has been brewing is just a little more focus on our schools, supporting our schools.
You know, I'll tell you from the eyes of an outsider, I really like the idea that you got a definite identity, definite neighborhood, and a school identified for the community, place for recreation, and seem like around building that, you can enhance the whole community. There's no reason why, even though a person may not have, say, children in the school, there's no reason why they still can't, you know, give support.
1, 2, 3, all of us were over there yesterday at a big community thing.
The East Lake Academy. Yeah.
Because, you know, part of what that does, it indirectly impacts home value. When you can build and strengthen that school, just like North Chattanooga. They've strengthened those schools. And it is a destination. And home prices are like off the charts.
Well, one of the major contributors to support there was North Shore Fellowship. Really went in a church there that went in and supported Normal Park.
But, you know, and in the same way, I see no reason why, like, churches are going to do outreach. They're going to do outreach. And for us to knock on some doors, and part of my job is I see myself as being a partner in a sense like businesses. Businesses will kind of oftentimes listen to us. If a company around here, if we knock on their doors, you know, they'll look to see if we can partner, meaning if I can bring some resources, you know, to whatever that initiative is, they might chip in as well.
Right.
What is it, Aztec right over?
It's on the south, it's near Alton Park.
Well, it's not too far from here either.
Near Pine Woods. It's near Pine Woods.
But, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So like, one thing I've been thinking a lot about is just on Rossville Boulevard, we have so many empty buildings, and it seems like there would be an opportunity to, you know, how can we like lure companies here? And maybe that's more the role of the chamber, but you know, you talk about putting money into schools, and I think like, you know, what do kids have hope for? Because if they do well in college, like for what, you know, because the unemployment rate in their neighborhoods is so high, or what opportunities are really out there for them. And so, sorry.
And I hear you. For those empty stores, they're everywhere. And in terms of businesses, that's more of a private initiative. Sometimes government can give incentives to locate, but what you're speaking of in terms of opportunity, that's more private money as opposed to government money.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this because this might require a whole separate meeting with you. And don't know if you remember this conversation. We have a nonprofit, actual 501c called Open Eastlake, and the whole idea of it is, and we've been working on this for 2 years to acquire the middle school down here that's empty, or it's the old Eastlake Elementary. It's either middle school or everybody says it was middle school, then they said it was an elementary school.
It used to be elementary, and then it was middle school.
Right. We a couple years ago, the county put in a bid for anybody who wanted to buy it to do it. So we were the only people who came forward. They liked our plan and so on and so forth. Where we're at with it is the main sticking point that we came across with them was that we had to show, and we understand this is real clear, is that we needed to have financial viability. So in 2 years, the thing wasn't going to be back in their hands again. Okay. Well, it's sort of the chicken and the egg thing. We have had foundations approach us. Ben would approach us and say, we are interested in giving towards this project, but you need to be in the building. And the county has said, or real property has said, you need financial viability in order to get into this building. So we're sort of at this place of being kind of stuck. So we would like to sort of pursue a little bit with you and talk with you a little bit more about that some other time or whatever in regards to, because basically we want to make that into an empowerment center for the community.
You know, first of all, closed school buildings to me is a huge asset for any neighborhood. Huge. And those structures are built like out of steel.
It's like a fortress.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I agree. Now, see, here again, this is one of those places where I think when people work together, they can get more done. The same thing you're saying is the same thing that Piney Wood Elementary School dealt with. Piney Woods, the Development Corporation there, I think we have now control of that building. But the very same thing you said, the grant had to show sustainability. And I'm pretty sure, I hate to call this lady, but Margaret died last week. They had her funeral yesterday. You know Eleanor Woods.
Right, that's what I was about to say. They have, yeah. She's a chair. Is she the chair? She's the chair.
Yeah. And, you know, here again, I would like for you all to have a conversation with her. And then there was a man, he got control of the old John P. Franklin School with the idea of creating businesses there. Dr. Hilton is who got it. And I don't know what
a business incubator.
Yeah, see, I'll tell you what we would do. Several years ago, the county we were looking to move the business incubator from the North Shore to another spot. And I told Claude Ramsey, I said, I've got the perfect spot. I said, let's put the incubator, the property over on the North Shore had gotten so, had so much value. So I said, let's relocate the incubator to the old Franklin Middle School spot.
Is that an old park?
Yeah. And we were moving in that direction. I'm going to say this. Please don't repeat it. Some neighborhoods work together so much better than others. When we started moving that building, then you got people and politicians who want to step in and get the credit. So there becomes this tug, and instead of being able to move together, you go nowhere. And so that project got stuck. The school board representative wanted to get credit. I couldn't, I'm going to say it, I couldn't get, Claude Ramsey said we needed to get the city involved, but I couldn't get Rico to say anything.